Comrades, fighters, and the people of South Africa, our nation finds itself in the middle of a war in the Democratic Republic of Congo without a clear explanation as to why. As the EFF, we commend our courageous soldiers who fought bravely and placed their lives on the line in order that they must ensure there is peace and stability in the DRC. Our soldiers are disciplined and could never question those orders, and they have followed these orders with discipline. There can be no doubt that those soldiers who have passed on sacrificed their lives and deserve to be recognized and honored. However, at the heart of the conflict in the Congo is not a desire for peace, but the greed of the West for the minerals wealth of Congo. The DRC is a home of vast reserves of minerals essential for modern technology, including cobalt and tin, titanium and gold. Around 70% of the world cobalt, crucial for electric cars, batteries, and smartphones, comes from DRC, yet Congolese people see none of these riches. Instead, multinational corporations and West nations exploit these resources while fueling conflict to maintain their access. Over 200 companies from the UK and Belgium are involved in the purchasing minerals from the DRC, and these nations directly finance armed groups and perpetuate violence. These corporations and their governments remain complicit, failing to regulate supply chain or hold corporations accountable for using conflict minerals. The chaos in the DRC goes back to the colonial conquest, and today is sustained by imperialist interest to loot the wealth of the DRC. This conflict is equally fueled by ethnic divisions in the region. Comrades, it is here where the influence of Rwanda in the DRC emerges. As ethnic group that fled from Rwanda during the Rwandan genocide and settled in the eastern Congo are used as the basis for Rwanda support for M23 rebel against the regime in the DRC, while Rwanda is simultaneously a proxy of Western interests in the Congo. The conflict in the DRC, therefore, does not require a head of state who suffers from a desire to be a hero at the expense of the lives of our soldiers without an appreciation of the condition that informs the conflict. It is when you do not appreciate the condition that inform the conflict in the DRC that you will speak in folk tongues when you speak to the president of Rwanda and communicate a different message to the people of South Africa. Lies have short legs, Mr. President, and we demand clarity from you because you have sent our soldiers to their death and then antagonized forces in their region, knowing very well you are not prepared for war. It is crucial for fellow fighters to acknowledge this history and ask ourselves what is the specific role of the South African National Defense Force in the Congo, and in whose interest is our mission in the Congo. Whose peace and stability are we pursuing in the Congo? Is peace and stability for the continent or peace and stability for mining interests of global capitalists? Commissars and fighters, citizens of our great country and our armed forces who are in the trenches in the Congo, I take this opportunity to caution the President of South Africa, Sir Ramaphosa, not to fall into the pitfalls of warmongering and not allow desperation to inspire a misguided intervention in the conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo. For centuries, when a nation is confronted by massive social and economic challenges such as poverty, starvation, homelessness, and unemployment, war has been a weapon of the ruling elite to mobilize patriotism. Those who have over the years in modern society lost of the popular mandate of the people have embarked on senseless wars, sacrificing soldiers in an attempt to unite the nation behind one common purpose and one common cause. The President of South Africa ought to be careful to not allow fanatics to incite him into war, simply because it will give the people who have lost hope in him a common enemy to unite against. The dignity and pride of our army is not harmed because our African counterparts do not respect us. It is harmed because we have interfered in a conflict we do not understand and send our soldiers to fight rebels who are more equipped than us. We are being humiliated in DRC and threatened with war by President of Rwanda because our role of peace in the DRC is questionable, because there is no peace that has ever been achieved through the deployment of soldiers. The South African National Defence Force is not in DRC to pursue peace, but we are participating in the decade-old conflict to secure the mineral interest of the capital elite in the Congo. Our soldiers must withdraw from the DRC, not only because they have not been given the necessary equipment to pursue the so-called peace they are there for, but because the motivation to send our forces to the DRC are dishonest. Our children, our sons and daughters of the South African National Defence Force have been sent to their death because the mineral interests of multinational corporations and individuals must be secured. Our soldiers have been sent to be glorified bodyguards of the mines in the DRC, and this mission has been disguised as a pursuit of peace and a defense of democracy. Bring our soldiers home, because our army should not be a pawn in a game of capitalists which has now exposed the weakness of our military capacity. Bring them home, because every day they pass away, we see the consequences of a deliberate destruction of our arms manufacturer, Dinel, and we see the consequence of the year-on-year budget cuts to the Defense Department. Bring our soldiers home, because they are the first line of defense for our people, not the first line of defense for the interest of capitalists and mining corporates. Mr. President, bring our soldiers home and desist from meddling in the affairs of DRC and Rwanda as if you are the USA of Africa, because we do not know if you'll be able to defend us when the rest of Africa turns their guns to the south. The manner in which the former liberation movement has collapsed our military and defense capacity is the embarrassment we must talk about. Mr. President and people of South Africa, to rescue the lives of our soldiers from a war they are not prepared for is not an embarrassment. It is a strategic and necessary retreat that prioritizes life over profits. Cyril Ramaphosa, I appeal to you and your conscience. Bring our soldiers home. Even if you threaten to fight a war against Rwanda, we don't have the military capacity to can fight any other country. Our army has collapsed because you have taken money away from them and put it under your mattresses. Today, our soldiers do not have food, do not have ammunition, do not have sophisticated equipment. We are not scared to fight, but at the moment, we are not ready and capable to fight. The best thing is to retreat. Commissars and fighters, let us make use of the time we have at this plenum to resolve on critical questions and map the way forward for our organization. This is the first and the final plenary meeting for the 2026 local government elections, because after this, we head straight to the ground to establish the sub-regional structures and lead society directly from the picket lines. The past is behind us and can never determine our future or our destination. The EFF remains the weapon of the masses of our people, and it will achieve the generational mission of economic freedom in our lifetime. I thank you.